What is good game design? Well, it's hard to describe in just a few words, and a lot of it can be subjective at times. I am CycloneFox, and in this video I want to talk about Central Yharnam, which is the first big area of Bloodborne, as an example of why Bloodborne is so great. This is technically not taking place in Central Yharnam, but the first thing the game does is make you face off against the beast without any weapon. Dying will not only introduce the player to the concept of dreams in this game, but it will also give you your first weapon. You need to choose and commit to that choice, at least for the first portion of the game. But no matter what you pick, you will feel like a badass when you are now able to beat the first beast by spamming that R1 button. This is an awesome way to introduce you to your weapon, and it shows you that you are not the random undead who will hardly survive with whatever he can find as a weapon, but a skilled hunter with professional equipment. But make no mistake here, this is not an easy game. Before we go on to actually talk about Central Yharnam, I want to shortly discuss the visuals. And man, the first time you see the view with Cathedral Ward and the bridge is just gorgeous. From Software's new engine, which was introduced with Bloodborne, is capable of rendering a high level of environmental detail. It also offers some nice lighting and rendering tricks like parallax occlusion mapping, and the game uses filters for motion blur. For some reason, the motion blur effects got removed in Dark Souls 3, which uses the same engine. Opinions about this can differ, and some people say that the lack of such post filters gives Dark Souls 3 a sharper, clearer image. But in my opinion, Bloodborne's visuals and art direction benefit greatly of it. But why is that important for game design? Well, it enhances the atmosphere and immersion for the player immensely, and Central Yharnam really hits the spot with its take on the Victorian setting. This is the part where I actually talk about Central Yharnam, and the layout is really convoluted, which can be said about a lot of levels in Souls games. But Central Yharnam does it on a very high level. Near the first lamp, you will come across some closed gates. Unlocking the first lamp itself requires you to trigger a ladder, and you get your first items by leaving the path. A little at first, but shortly after you need to break wooden boxes to get stuff. This seems basic, but it shows the player that exploration will be rewarded. Quite early in the following area, you can open the first gate, which isn't as useful, but shows you how the concept of spiraling level design works. It also makes you think whether or not you will open the other gates as well at some point, which also adds to the reward of exploration. Unlike previous Souls games, you will face many enemies at once in this area. First of all, this highlights the drawback that shields would have. But mobs of enemies can also cause the random discovery of new gameplay features, like rallying, gun parries or transform attacks. After this first struggle, you will soon face bigger enemies like the brick trolls or the big huntsmen, who force you to rethink your playstyle again. At the same time, they are relatively easy to parry. So, if you took note of that strange sound before, you might figure out a very complex battle mechanic just by yourself. You will eventually get to this part, where you will most likely get lost in your first playthrough. There's a bridge you could use, but speaking of bigger enemies, the enemies on this bridge are most likely too strong for you. You haven't found any new lamp yet, so the game makes you rethink your approach to this situation each time. To sum it up, there are two beast wolves blocking your path who appear to be too strong, there's another closed gate, and even if you find the hidden path to the sewers, after obtaining the Yharnam Hunter's Garb, it appears to be a dead end again. The interesting thing is, each person I watch playing this game approaches this situation differently. Some hunters, like me, find the hidden path to the dog cages after breaking some barrels here. Some others will figure out how to beat the beast wolves after reading the description of the torch next to the brick troll. It states that certain creatures they encounter are possessed of a deathly fear of flame. Some may just have learned from the previous parts how to parry and use that to beat the wolves. Some will just find the other hidden path which connects the sewers. And once I saw another fellow hunter who simply tricked the wolves to fall down by using that secret path to the sewers.
Okay, well, peace. He's gonna come down here, isn't he? Fuck. Oh shit, okay, well, okay. Hey, you come down here too. See your friend? It worked. I don't think that was the way I was supposed to go, though, because I don't think there was any way that I could rightfully fight them right now.
Regardless of which way you find, I don't even know if there is an official main way here at all. It is your own way. The game didn't hold your hand and didn't tell you what to do. The lack of the lamp made you rethink your approach and whether it's a good idea to risk dealing with the wolves again. And the conclusion you made to progress was yours entirely. If you ask me, that is ingenious game design. At this point it becomes more or less accidental whether you face the cleric beast first, or find your way back to the lamp, or even stumble into the last boss of the area. But let's not talk about the cleric beast for too long. He has a great appearance and music, and there are some nice tricks to beat him easier, but even a 3-year-old could beat him.
You got him, baby! High five!
Still, an optional boss like that makes for some great unique player stories. But either by finding a boss or exploring the area and trying out different items, you will finally be able to level up.
Hello, good hunter. I am a doll, here in this dream to look after you.
This boss makes both old and new players struggle, except for maybe my colleague who claims to have beaten him on the first try. But not because he's particularly hard, but because you need to utilize what you learned over the course of Central Yharnam.
Ow. Wait. Yeah, get in there. Get my blood back. Nice. This is sick. I fucking love Bloodborne now, lads. Now I can parry. No! I was just like, I was getting too excited, but I know how to do it now at least.
You need to adapt to the faster battle with dodging and timing. You need to really trust your weapon to win the upper hand and be more aggressive. You need to learn how to parry and to use visual attacks. You need to explore to find better shortcuts. You need to explore to find the little girl with the music box. And finally, you can use insight and blood echoes to level up. You can try to cheese him using the environment, but then the game just shows you what it does with cheap playstyles. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like. And I would love to make a series of this and look at other aspects as well. Of course, there's certainly more than just areas to explore in Bloodborne. So I hope I find the time to record something like this in the future again. I wish you all a good night.